Joining me live now is former White House Chief of Staff and now Bondi Partners consultant Mick Mulvaney. Great to see you, Mick. As always, Donald Trump back in court. This is one of the many cases against him at the moment, and you'd expect him to come out swinging, and he did that this morning.
He did, Laura. He's going to try and turn this to his advantage, as he has every single other one of the cases against him. Importantly, your reporter mentioned the crimes alleged against him. This is not a criminal case. This is a civil case. The only thing that could happen to him is he could lose money or the right to do business in the state of New York. At the heart of the matter is the allegation that he lied about the value of his assets. There's no allegation, because it's not the case, that he didn't pay back any loans or that any banks were actually defrauded. It's against the law in the state of New York to lie about your assets for the purposes of getting a loan. Even if you still get that loan and then pay it back, some of his loans were even paid back early, it's still against the law. That's what this matter is about. Trump is going to have plenty of opportunity to make this look like a witch hunt. You just showed that graphic that said that someone has valued Mar-a-Lago at $28 million. Mar-a-Lago is about 20 acres or about 10 hectares of land with a giant building on it. There's a piece of property around the corner that is 1 hectare with no buildings on it that's selling for $200 million. So there's going to be evidence that he can use to make it look like he's being targeted here again. But the reason he's in that courthouse today is absolutely right. This is where his campaign is going to be won and lost. Right now, he's winning.
Yeah, it certainly does look like a witch hunt, this particular one. As you say, paid back his loans. It's not like he owes anyone any money in these particular cases, and in some instances he paid it back early. Let's look at the government shutdown, because we can talk about Trump for hours and hours. We'll do that again next week. But the government shutdown has been avoided, but Kevin McCarthy wounded.
Yeah, our Speaker of the House cut a deal at the very last minute, approaching midnight on Saturday here, to pass a short-term agreement to keep our government funded. It was unexpected. I honestly thought that the government would shut down for at least a brief period of time, and most people here in Washington, D.C. Thought the same, but the Speaker was able to pull a deal at the very last minute. On a bipartisan basis. The difficulty he's going to face, Laura, is that he actually got more Democrat votes for that last minute deal than he got Republican votes. And that is causing him a little bit of headache here this week. There's more and more discussion now about whether or not there'll be a motion to remove him as the Speaker of the House. That's never happened. The motion has been filed before, but a Speaker has never been removed in the history of our country. Honestly, I don't think the Speaker will be removed in these circumstances for a variety of reasons, but it looks like we're going to go down that path here in just the next few days.
Yeah, right. So does this ultimately hurt? I mean, Kevin McCarthy he's kind of wounded there, but does this ultimately hurt Joe Biden again?
I don't know if it really affects Joe Biden. The real issue with Joe Biden is that he's been absent from the discussions. He was not involved in negotiating the deal that kept the government open. He doesn't seem to be involved in the deal. Keep in mind that the deal to keep the government open, that bipartisan agreement I mentioned, is a short-term agreement. It only lasts 45 days. So we'll be right back having similar discussions in the middle of November. And it looks like Joe Biden is absent from those discussions as well. So no, Joe Biden has his own difficulties right now. He continues to struggle under low approval ratings, continue to deal with the issues regarding his age and his mental acuity. There's even more discussion in Washington, D.C. now about whether or not the Democrats will need to replace him. So he's got bigger things to worry about right now than whether or not Kevin McCarthy is going to be the Speaker of the House come next week.
It certainly seems like it. So when we talk about even, friendly media, if you can describe them like that, still looking at Joe Biden going, can this guy really do another term? Age is a factor, and they're openly saying that now. But when it comes to alternatives, who are the names? I mean, I did hear a Michelle Obama mentioned the other day. Is that serious?
Not really. I talked to a good many Democrat pundits, folks who do what I do on the other side of the aisle, and they know the Obamas much better than I do. And they tell me, every one of them, the exact same thing, which is the Obama family has no interest in going back into public office. They've made a tremendous amount of money, and they do enjoy the privacy that they have now. So I've heard that name come up from time to time, but my Democrat friends are telling me that Michelle Obama is really not in play should the Democrats start kicking about for a replacement for Joe Biden. The names you hear are mostly the current governor of California, the governor of Illinois, a couple of senators and so forth. There's a very popular woman Democrat governor in the state of Michigan, a key state for us. So, but we're still a good ways from that. The general consensus here is if the Democrats do seek to replace Joe Biden, it would not be until after next summer. If they do it before that, they would have to have an open primary and they would lose control of the circumstances. If they wait till after their convention, when Joe Biden is the nominee, they would be able to replace him. Their party leadership would be able to replace him without having an election to do so. So we're a good ways away from, I think, having that decision made by anybody.
Mick Mulvaney, good to see you. We'll see you soon.
It's always good to be here. Thanks, Laura.